Greetings Admiral and welcome to the Breach. We're on episode 16 and the first thing we're going to do is finish off the Hyperion questline, which will get us our second ship.
Docking granted.
We've flown over to Trinity Sanctum 3. We're going to deliver the items required to extract the AI core. Oops, getting a little bit hot there, that's all my fault.
Successfully docked.
We wish to extend our gratitude for your continued and invaluable help. As promised, the dignified galleon, once called Trinity, now Hyperion, shall be gifted into your capable stewardship. Treat her well, and she will serve you faithfully for the rest of your life. Safe journey.
The ship will be undocking soon.
Well, that's the Hyperion questline completed. I now own 2 Hyperion ships. To unlock the second ship, all I had to do was kill lots of Xenon and collect their loot, which was pretty easy when you sit behind the shields of the Odysseus Vanguard Thunderchild. I don't want to have 2 ships in the fleet called Hyperion, so I'm going to rename this one Trinity. I just check what modules the ship comes with. I don't have the spare cash to upgrade it at the moment, but I am going to buy some surface crew. Moving on from the Hyperion quest, we're going to start the Boron campaign. It not only opens up brand new sectors, but reintroduces the Boron as a faction. And while that's happening, it'll give our industry time to progress. We need the resources to be churned out, and our stations to be built. Here we are at the Boron flagship using the special method of docking, which is really cool and shows how much thought went into these Boron ships.
Docking aborted. Docking granted.
Okay, so it doesn't work all the time.
Successfully.
A Boron capital ship. In all my days. A perfect equilibrium of function and ergonomics. And with such flair. My current abode is penurious in comparison.
My ropalium near explodes with the joy of welcoming esteemed visitors. This historic occasion is the first of its kind. I am Leda V, Royal Steward of the Provinces Adrift. On behalf of Her Majesty the Queen, and as her loyal servant, it is my profound pleasure to welcome an emissary of the Perenid Empire. And once business is out of the way, I insist you join me on a more informal tour.
Esteemed Royal Steward Leda Wee, thank you for your most gracious welcome. You must forgive me. I, Numunkaret, am no Empire emissary. I represent the Alliance of the Word, a diplomatic forum and scientific organization funded by various races across the network.
My. But do you have letters patent from the Empire? The provinces adrift are in dire straits. We must negotiate terms of assistance.
I am compelled to reiterate, I do not speak for the Perenid authorities, though we do bring news which may bring joy. We have been in communication with Kingdom End. Limited fragile communication, but communication nevertheless. Some months ago we received word from your homeworld. It was heartening to discover that the Boron core has survived the shutdown, and learn of their most ambitious endeavor. Their entire scientific resources are focused on understanding and manipulating jump gate technology. We humbly request your permission to investigate the dormant jump gates in your territory, and to set up a scientific outpost in the region, should that be required.
There are so many implications to consider. This really is momentous. I am afraid I must decline your request, for now. We cannot be precipitous.
By the glistening waters of Nishala!
I fail to understand. We ask for no more than your permission. We certainly have no wish to be a drain on your resources.
Leader Wee, they are trying to connect us with Kingdom End. They have communications.
Mila T, this obsession with finding home is entirely yours. You may have the luxury of gallivanting around the galaxy in search of miracles, but I have responsibilities. I have the welfare of billions of souls to consider. Our guests have already made clear that the outside network, with all its resources, has been unable to connect with our homeworld. The priority at this juncture is the welfare of our people, and I shall not be distracted from that.
Honored host, we will of course expedite communications with the governments of the network. I am sure emissaries are preparing as we speak. Yet, if we could simply...
Enough, please. I understand your request, but I do not think you understand what is at stake. Please have patience, but for now, the matter is settled.
Outrageous! The Boron Queen's government itself is racing to reconnect, and you decline to facilitate? What kind of royal steward are you?
Please.
There is nothing to be gained from trading insults.
This is absurd. Our work is of the utmost importance. Your obduracy is beyond me. I shall take my leave. Heading to the dock, awaiting pickup.
That certainly could have gone better, for all may not be lost.
Indeed. The Royal Steward seems somewhat overwhelmed by the news. Maybe it's a good idea to just listen to him. Understanding his fears might help calm them.
It looks like we have to sort out this problem.
Ah, the silent one from our disappointing introduction.
Are you okay, Leader Wee?
I regret my approach at our meeting. You see, I have not hosted a diplomatic function in decades. Unfortunately, I am simply not in the habit of communicating with anyone other than Boron, you see. We Boron converse amongst ourselves, relying on complex structures of pheromones, not just mere words. There was so much to communicate, so much to cogitate upon, yet the words failed to convey my meaning. You must imagine it like painting an ocean, yet having only a single shade of blue with which to do so.
Why are you in this situation?
From time to time, I spend the waking nights pondering the very same question. It would be misleading to cast blame for all our miseries on the Great Shutdown. In fact, when we were first riven from the wider network, the vast majority of our Boron systems remained connected between themselves. Isolated from external threats, we commenced a new age of reflection and scientific endeavor. And while this period of peace brought the wealth of Kingdom End to fabulous new heights, we were not complacent. Resources were stockpiled throughout the Queendom, a precautionary measure. Oh, we thought we were prepared, yet in truth we were far from it. We Boron are inherently connected to each other, you see. We thrive on a collective sort of innate affinity. Once that connection was severed, each system found itself in complete isolation. Things fell apart quite quickly, I'm afraid to say. Productivity collapsed catastrophically. Stockpiles were depleted far more rapidly than anticipated, and there was no way to replenish them. After years of disarray, Great Reef finally reconnected with barren shores. Later, it was joined by several other systems. The provinces adrift were founded, but by then the damage was done. We still lacked crucial resources. I contend that it was the collective psychological toll of the severance that caused this, more so than the evident logistical challenges posed by the shutdown.
Perhaps there's a positive solution?
Your expedition commander hardly seemed in the mood for positive solutions. I cannot imagine that you presume to speak for him.
Assistant, perhaps uncovering more context first may help with your solutioneering.
Goodbye for now, Leader Wee.
The steward and I had our differences in the past, but I had no idea he would be so particularly discordant display. Leader We and I disagree on much, but he is not a bad person. You know, he is just scared.
What is he afraid of?
I think he is scared of falling short. He carries the weight of the expectations of the entire provinces. He wants to keep everyone safe, and I think he fears that your expedition will exacerbate an already dangerous situation.
Dangerous situation?
Yes, fraught with danger. The provinces lie uncomfortably close to Kark territory. When Sanctuary of Darkness first connected to the provinces, it triggered regular attacks. We barely managed to protect ourselves with the meager military that we could cobble together. Thankfully, the waves have calmed for now. The Kark incursions eventually ceased. All attempts to communicate with these enigmatic creatures have failed, so I would hesitate to call it a ceasefire. It is more of a lull in hostilities. As you can imagine, the situation remains rather fragile.
Your quest for home was an obsession?
Oh! You took note of that, did you? Time after time I approach Leader We for the resources to find our way back home, but he has come to the conclusion that efforts spent on this endeavor come at an immediate cost to our people. I would hate for you to get the impression that I do not care for my fellow Boron here. Out on the fringes, I am truly seeking to make a difference for the people. Serving the Queen's subjects is a duty for me. You see, I do not like to draw too much attention to it, but I myself am the progeny of stranded minor royals. Before you bow or anything like that, I am not part of the direct line of succession, and that is not how our monarchy works in any case. Yet, it drives me to find a path back home, for the people to once again delight in a reunited, merry realm.
Thank you, Neela T.
Who does this fool think he is? Does he not understand the gravity of our mission? Withholding his consent? We shall continue without it if necessary.
Patience towards the close-minded.
You may have a point. Perhaps his simple mind cannot grasp all the variables at play. I wonder if we can help him to see the bigger picture.
Leader We is probably afraid.
Yes, you are right. That much is obvious. I cannot help but wonder if there's more to the issue than that. Perhaps he is overly attached to his role as Prime Administrator of the provinces. A reunion with King Demend would inevitably result in him having to relinquish power and standing.
He certainly fears the Kark.
Ah, I understand. He is worried that our presence will stir up an infestation of the Chitterers. The Alliance of the Word is certainly prepared to provide assurances that our investigation will not leave him exposed to Ka'ak attacks.
Thank you, goodbye.
Ah, the silent one from our disappointing introduction.
We aim to avoid provocation at all costs.
Your commendable commitment to peace is as welcome as it is unexpected. The Alliance of the Word is to be lauded for its respect for our peaceful ways. I am fully aware of Neela T's royal connections. Is it your opinion of me that I am some petty functionary who can be bought and sold, bribed by the highest bidder? You misjudge me, and you misjudge Neela T. For all our disagreements, I cannot conceive that she would be party to such a grubby approach. Of course I desire the return of the provinces adrift to the warm embrace of the homeworld. But what kind of servant would I be if I did so at the expense of the welfare of those under my charge? This is all terribly challenging. My instinct is that your expedition is honest in its intent. However, I find your judgment questionable. Well, I feel that I must allow you to proceed in your mission. However, I ask of you, do not make me regret this. With the gate in Watchful Gaze reactivated, to our knowledge, only 3 more dormant gates remain in Province space. One is located in Ocean of Fantasy, another in Barren Shores. The final one was discovered by scouts in Sanctuary of Darkness. If Sanctuary of Darkness sounds foreboding, you may find that the name is fitting. It is host to a significant Ka'ak infestation. Urgh. Even uttering the name makes my fins tingle. Yet I must remain firm on the matter. Do not, under any circumstances, engage with the Ka'ak. Every interaction with them results in horrific conflict.
You have our word, Leader We. We shall do everything in our power to avoid undue provocation.
Thank you. And may I bestow upon you a gift? We have prepared for you a fighter ship. A humble gift, but hopefully it will be of use to you in the times ahead.
Explorer, you have done well to secure access for us to continue our mission. Please, claim the scout ship as your own. Serve you well.
So here is the first reward of the Boron campaign. A Mako, which in X2 was classified as a light fighter. The ship does look completely different to its X2 version, but I'm not bothered about that because it looks really good in this iteration.
Mako.
The way you get into the ship is pretty cool as well.
We need to investigate the dormant gates to formulate the next step of our expedition.
I am already familiar with the gate in Ocean of Fantasy. If you supply me with the necessary equipment and provide me with a few pointers as to what exactly I am to do, it would be my deepest pleasure to assist.
Excellent. The Alliance shall investigate Barren Shores. That only leaves the matter of the final gate, the location of which is somewhat more precarious. Explorer, you have excelled thus far. Put that new fighter of yours to good use, and find Sanctuary of Darkness. It seems that you are best suited to this task.
All the times I dreamt of being reunited with my fellow Boron, it never crossed my mind that they might be in such impoverished circumstances. I know that the Alliance has received communications from Kingdom End, but those were dispatched decades ago. Hopefully, they have fared better than the Boron here. I am curious about the contents of their message. Just how much of their preliminary findings have they shared with their Alliance counterparts? Once we have gained access to both gates' data, maybe the Alliance really intends to conduct experiments from our side too. Trying to manipulate gates would be an incredibly involved undertaking. Yet it seems as though Numankaret is single-minded about the whole endeavor. Can you imagine the possibilities that would be open to us if we could manipulate these gates at will?
Thanks to the newly opened trade routes, we have commenced rebuilding our shipyard. You are, of course, most welcome to aid us in our undertaking. Your efforts will, of course, be lucratively compensated.
All the stations that I've already built are undergoing upgrades at the moment, but it's time to build a new factory. This final station will take the intermediary products and produce the components needed to build spaceships. Once I have this factory up and running, it will allow me to build a shipyard and supply it from my own factories, therefore maximising the profits. Last time I built a new station, I accidentally blocked off the freight docking ports. That's not going to happen this time. This new factory will need to make weapon components, drone components, antimatter converters, turret components, shield components, and field coils. Partway through building this factory, I realised I don't have the drone components production module, so I will have to source one of those at a later date. Although I'm missing a production module, I do remember to use my pre-made solar power plant factory. All I have to do is reorientate it so the freighters can dock. I designed this pre-made structure in my mini episode called Station Design. It was built with an Argon 3-dock-E pier, a small container storage, 2 solar panels and a basic dock. So the very basics to get a factory started. I can now easily expand this with all the production modules I need. As this is an end product station, all I will need is container storage. I just need to set up a few of each of the production modules so I can easily come back later and expand on the design. I'll also need to be aware that I'm using Argon habitation modules, which I find a lot easier to integrate into a station, but visually aren't as appealing as the Teladi. Building this station shows that the end game is nearly in sight. The plan will be to turn my HQ into a wharf so I can build small and medium-sized ships. The money I make from building the small ships from the Argon Federation will be reinvested into buying blueprints from other factions. To start off, that will just be the Commonwealth factions, Argon, Split, Paranid and Boron. Then I will need to increase my production of components again, and then I will add a large and extra large production module, turning the wharf into a full-blown shipyard. Then I'll go around buying all the blueprints. After completing all those stages, the final one will be profit, or maybe profits if you're role-playing as a Teladi. As you can see, I'm adding 1 production module. Once I've added 1 of each of the production modules, I then look for the easiest way to stack them together. I'm presently recording the voiceover for this on the 10th of April. I am hoping for 11th of April release, but I can't guarantee that. But there is something interesting happening this evening, and that is the III initiative, where hopefully Egosoft will be solidifying their next stage of development. I'm hoping the next DLC will be something more substantial than the Hyperion pack, although the roadmap did say that there'd be a mini DLC 2, which was to be decided. But the free update would be concentrating on diplomacy, so I am interested in finding out more about that. Don't get your hopes up too much. The roadmap did say it'd be Q3 when it was released, but I'm in no rush for new content. I'll still be here and happy playing the game. Well, I got called away and didn't get any more recording done yesterday. I did have enough time to watch the III initiative, which was confirming the next release will be diplomacy, but didn't mention anything about a mini DLC. As you can see, I'm just doubling up on those production modules. Well, that's enough to get the project started. While I'm running the mission in Sanctuary of Darkness, they can be delivering components, and once enough of those components are delivered, start the construction of this last station.
Entering system. Sanctuary of Darkness.
Sanctuary of Darkness. According to our archives, there was once a Xenon presence hereabouts in the network. I wonder what befell them.
Oh, is that so? Then we were quite lucky that our systems were not connected directly to a Xenon stronghold. There is no way we would have survived, given the state of our military.
Now, see if you can locate the inactive gate in this system.
Be careful. Take great care when navigating. We must honor our word and avoid the Karg. You will also need to be cautious of the region's other hazards. I recommend that you stick close to the asteroids. They seem to be an exceptional indicator of where your ship will not be armed.
I do like this mission, and part of the reason is just the looks of this sector. It reminds me of the cutscenes in Babylon 5 of the shadows lurking around in jump space. So to get to the jump gate, you have to go round the outside, following the asteroid belt. The easiest way to do that is to plot points on the map inside the red hexagons. The first time I did this mission, it wasn't very easy because I didn't know where I needed to go and I was paranoid of the Kark attacking me. But as with all puzzles, once you know the solution, it seems easy.
Assistant, perhaps locating the jump gate would be easier if you were to use your ship's long-range scanner.
I don't recall that hint in my first playthrough, but there's the gate in the top left. We just need to keep following these asteroids. As we emerge from the gloom, you can see the gate off in the distance.
Danger. Hazardous region detected.
There it is. Approaching the jump gate cell. Try to get a reading. Two pairs of nacelles. They act as caches for storing operational data, among many other things. We are still not very familiar with this technology, or who created it, but thanks to recent scientific advancements, we are able to make sense of some of the information that we are retrieving. It seems apparent that some of the data likely represents the coordinates of other jump gates. Whether this means that these gates were connected in the distant past is mere conjecture. Perhaps the builders had reasons unknown to us for certain gates to hold, special compatibility. The vast majority of the data in these caches remains a vexing mystery to us all.
So this jump gate, although inactive, holds more information than others in the network, and I need to scan the nacelles to get this information. I do have a slight problem. I do have to fly around the nacelles a few times to pick up all the information. I expected it just to show me a scanning bar, but it didn't. Maybe to do with me having a nav point down instead of me focusing directly on the mission itself. So here I am removing my old nav point and activating this mission. Maybe I can try flying to the top nacelle. Nope, that doesn't seem to have triggered anything either.
Everything we can access from this nacelle. Move on to the one on the opposite side.
Typical, now it decides to trigger something.
Yes, some of this data looks rather promising. I'm forwarding all of this to our science team as we speak.
Oh my! I'm picking up a worrisome fluctuation in energy signatures.
This should be an easy test for the Hyperion. It'll just be a few Kark scouts. We'll get to see how the 4 flak turrets deals with these ships.
Danger.
When I did upgrade the Hyperion, I came across my first ever lack of modification parts. I believe this is down to changing the drop tables in 7.0. Normally, once I get to this time in the game, I'm overflowing with modification parts and I don't have to worry about being stingy with my upgrades. But for now, my flak turrets are not upgraded, they are stock. Well, the flak turrets might struggle with the Kark, but if I can bring my main weapons to bear, it soon finishes them off. Well, sat behind a large shield does severely reduce the threat of the Kark. I normally do this mission in the geometric owl, so the Kark pose a much bigger threat in a smaller ship.
You fought bravely, Explorer.
Yes, your display of skill was altogether impressive. I just hope this commotion does not result in a more severe and unwelcome reaction.
Our science team has pored over the data that Neela T was able to live from the cache. While we have not yet completed our examination of the Sanctuary of Darkness cache, it is quite obviously the most promising of the gates. Despite the additional challenges the Ka'ak will represent,
More dangerous, perhaps, but I'm afraid that things are not going well in Ocean of Fantasy either. The system's planet is devastated and completely uninhabitable.
perhaps once the provinces have re-established their economy, they can attempt some terraforming. For now, this expedition needs you to map out safe passage for a larger fleet to navigate through Sanctuary of Darkness. You can use nav beacons to determine an appropriate route. Just stay clear of the Ka'ak installations. And other hazardous regions, obviously. For a better overview of the task at hand, do not hesitate to consult your map.
So now we have to retrace our steps, but drop nav beacons to make a safe path for the Alliance of the World ships to turn up and investigate this jump point. Retracing my steps should be fairly easy. I'm going to keep on using the Hyperion for this portion of the Kingdom Ends mission in Sanctuary of Darkness. As I've said, I've normally done this mission arc in the Geometric Owl, but I have also done it in the Odysseus Vanguard as well, which made it very easy indeed. Although you have to be careful of your friendly fire when you're in the Vanguard, which might be the case for the Hyperion as well, but I really want to test it out against a swarm of Kark. Well, there's the first navigation beacon deployed, and I just need to set my next waypoint.
You know, for the longest time, the community of planets thought the Kark had been eradicated by their joint efforts. Recent attacks on solitary miners, and now this, prove this notion was overly optimistic.
Drop nav beacon, set navigation point, travel to the new nav beacon, then repeat. The next nav point I put down is too far. It's in the right position, but it's just out of range. So once I've reached that destination, I have to turn around and put a navigation point at the midway point, as you'll see in a second.
Yes, it looks like you have found a route. Nicely done, Explorer. Everyone, move in. The expedition shall now establish a scientific outpost. This may be the beginning of a most fruitful phase in our journey together.
Well, that's mission completed, and I gained 2 reputation with the Alliance of the Word. Before we finish this episode, we'll have a quick look at the station we've just set to build. As you can see, the building of the station is coming along quite nicely. Nearly all the energy cells have been delivered, nearly half the claytronics have been delivered as well, and there are plenty of hull parts for the station to be continuously being built. I also realised earlier that I was looking too hard for something and couldn't see it.
Danger.
I do have the drone components factory, so while we're here we'll add it to the build queue. To make the design as easy as possible, we're going to use this double length base extender and then a cross piece, and we'll add the drone component factory to the cross piece.
Danger.
Sometimes it's all about getting the view from just the right angle so you can build the module exactly where you want it to go. We'll add one more base piece and then we can copy the sequence, and that will build us 2 drone factories to get us started. we can confirm the changes and get the building done in the background. By the time we've finished the next mission, this will be almost completed. We'll now take a look at the gas refinery and seeing how that building queue is coming along. As you can see, I've started working on the second layer, and I've also added 7 large argon habitation modules. It does take a long time to get the workers to move into these modules, and I definitely have enough production modules to benefit from the increased efficiency. Even though I've added 7 modules, that's only half of the requirement at the moment. With the number of presently built stations, I need a workforce of 12,000. But the production modules I already have queued will push that to over 14,000. So when I come back to look at this factory, I'll be adding a lot more habitation modules. With the workforce I have available at the moment, I'm getting an extra 55 graphene an hour, which is an improvement of 4% efficiency. I gain that 4% on everything I make in the station. This is my hull parts factory. It is not quite as well developed as the gas refinery. That's because it's more important to sort out your resources first. But I've also added some habitation modules to start recruiting new workers.
Danger.
As you can see from the logistics overview, I'm short on graphene and refined metals. So I'm going to need to either add some more freighters or some more transporters. But that's for the next episode.
Danger.
My ore processing plant is not quite as developed as the gas refinery, but has still had some habitation modules added to it. Looking at the logical overview, I'm probably going to need to add some more miners to the station. And definitely some more transporters. As you can see, there is over 76,000 units of refined metals in stock here. I'm also going to need to add extra solar panels because I'm producing less energy than I need. I don't want that becoming a bottleneck.
We've established a perimeter around the inactive jump gate. Now we are commencing the construction of an outpost. Do not elevate your hopes quite yet. Experimentation shall begin soon, but jump gate technology is very alien and highly volatile. We do not know for certain whether we can ever successfully force a connection, particularly without real-time coordination with our Kingdom End counterparts. Nonetheless, we have an ideal candidate gate for experimentation. The Alliance of the Word has an obligation to our cousins in Kingdom End to try our utmost. These technological marvels have eluded our understanding to date. Something about the interface has remained stubbornly out of reach. The final spark. In any case, Explorer, congratulations. You have performed your part, and you have done so unimpeachably. We will keep you updated on our progress in the coming years. And, if fate wills it, you might one day find your name in the annals of the great explorers and scientists.
Well, that's the episode concluded. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you on the other side.